So included in the crate with the CPAP stand was this UPS envelope, and all this literally arrived to me overnight. And they tell me that if you're a customer of theirs, don't expect anything less, that they will package up and ship you out what you need, typically in a crate, overnight. Now I'm sure cables they would have just packaged up in an envelope, but anything that is potentially breakable, anything that could be mishandled by a shipping company, they package extra well. And a testament to that is the box you saw at the very beginning that they built specifically for the CPAP stand, and this was bundled inside of that box as well. But they sent me 2 additional HDMI cables as well as new audio video cables to replace the cables that were torn loose from the back of the TV. Now I could have taken this to a service center. This is something that, you know, they would probably do, or they likely could have sent someone out to do it. But this is such an easy job. I just told them I'll do it myself. Why do I need to go through the headache of having somebody come into my RV to fix this when it's something that I should be able to fix in a matter of minutes? So I'm gonna try and tackle that today. I'm gonna swap the cables out, put the new cables in. All right, so when I talked to the folks over at Vanleigh about the cables, and if you didn't see that video, let me show you here, essentially being sheared off. Here's the remnants of the HDMI cable. It likely got caught on the bracket right there. I don't know if you can see it, when it was going up or down, and it definitely put pressure enough to not only bend all of the ends of the RCA cables and break one of them off, but to actually completely rip the ends of the HDMI cable off. And a lot of people said, well, this top one looks super mangled, and it's not. I mean, it's just the plug right here. This is the end of the cable that got stuck inside of there. And you can see both HDMI ports look to be in pretty good shape still. So I am going to get these wired in, and I'm going to remove the old cables. And I think I'm going to route them a little bit differently. I think I'm just going to let them drape down behind here and go up into the back of the entertainment system, which is this Furrion head unit right here, which is also your DVD. I'm not sure if it's Blu-ray or not. It doesn't say on here. But yeah, so that's how we're going to connect it. And the way to get to that is going to be through the fireplace. So I don't know all the steps in order to get this fireplace out. It should be pretty simple, but I do know the first step, and that's to remove this glass front panel. Just pulls off like that. I'm going to set it forward side out like this, just so these little hooks right here don't damage the sofa. And from here, I'm going to take a quick glance at this to see if I can figure out how this is mounted in. So it looks like there's a screw right here, a screw right here, one right here, and one right here. So I just need to remove these screws, and this fireplace assembly should just come out. Let's find out. Okay, so I got the 4 screws out. 2 are Phillips head, and 2 are these Robinson square drives. And then this should just slide out. I'm going to use 2 hands so I don't scratch the floor. Okay, so this just slid right out. It's got a little padding on the bottom of it so I can slide it out of the way right here. And you can see the cabinetry all behind it right here. So all I need to do is kind of figure out how they have all this connected. Under here, okay, so I can see my connections back there. So I can even see that it looks like some of those connections may have actually come loose off of the back of the head unit whenever the cables were pulled. Okay, so I got the RCA cables unplugged. I'm on my back underneath here, and I see one HDMI cable right there that's plugged in, but there's 2 HDMI cables that were behind the TV, and you can see them up there. So I gotta figure where the other HDMI cable is fed from. I can't really tell. I'm gonna have to do a little bit of investigating here to find out where that cable comes from. I see what appears to be an HDMI cable extender over here, but I'm not sure, to be honest with you. What else would be connected to the TV with an HDMI cable? Okay, so while I'm investigating where the second HDMI cable is, that snag is worse than I thought. So you saw on that side where the RCA cables had been sheared off. Well, I came to this side, and let me pull on these RCA cables right here and see what happens. They were actually sheared completely in half. So that's broken off, which means if I go around to this side and pull on these RCA cables, they're likely to just come right out because they are no longer attached to the other cable. And there's the other end. So yeah, it had quite a bit of force. So there's three things here at play. One, the LG TV seems to have some very strong connection ports on the back, if they're not damaged, which I won't know yet until I try to connect everything. Two, the televator system is pretty dang strong. It's pretty crazy. I know that's not much to cut through, but at the same time though, I mean, I didn't hear any noise when I put it up or down, which means this likely happened at some point before I received it. But let's try to track down where this other HDMI cable is. All right, somebody who has a Vanleigh is probably going to point this out before they see this part, but the other HDMI port goes here in this shelf. So you can connect some type of entertainment, gaming system, something right here, plug it in here so you don't have to try to get to the HDMI port behind the TV. Now what's interesting here is that the HDMI port behind the TV when the TV is up is really easy to get to from the side of the TV. It's just the problem with the TV when it's down, you might not be able to access it. Tell me what you guys think about these televators. In this floor plan, I know there's a big window back there that this blocks when it's up, but would you rather see a permanent TV here, or do you like the televator that's able to lower out of the way so you can see out the back window? What are your thoughts on televators? Let me know. Okay, so I got the cables free from the back of the TV, and here's the coax cable and the two damaged HDMI plugs. But I have to take that little screw off right there to get that clamp off so I can pull the wires. And then they got zip ties all over the place, so I'll have to cut free all those zip ties. It looks like a total of 3 zip ties. That one's screwed in, so once I get that one off, these cables should be free. And then there's an HDMI extension cable which is back over here, which feeds up to that HDMI plug up there. So that part's not damaged, so I can just unplug the cable from this one and just feed it back to the TV. It should all be pretty simple once I get those zip ties out. The hardest part of all this is kind of squeezing through the hole in the fireplace to get to all of it, but aside from that, it's not really that difficult, just time consuming. All right, so I have the HDMI cable hooked up to the back here. I need to hook up the audio video cables, which are your red and white audio connections and your yellow video connection right there. And a secret to doing this, because you can't look up there behind the radio, is just to record it with your phone. Put your phone on video mode, stick it up there, record the back of it, and then look at the video footage later and you'll kind of see where everything's at. So I know that the furthest connections on this side are going to be my audio video connections, and I know now where to connect them without having to try to stick my head back there to be able to see what colors they are. Now for this final HDMI connection, which comes from this plug and allows you to connect like a game system, or if you want to hook your laptop screen up to it, things like that. I just unscrewed this because I wouldn't be able to reach far enough back there. And right here you can kind of see how that system works. It's just a little pigtail off the end you can connect to. I'll feed the wire down through here and I'll grab it and I'll be ready to feed it up to the TV. All right, so I have the HDMI connection and the audio video cables connected to the back of the Furrion head unit / DVD player. I have the HDMI connected to the back of the little auxiliary plug here, and they're laid out right here. The audio video is right here. So I'm gonna get some zip ties, bundle this together, feed it up the back here, and get it connected to the TV in a way that I feel comfortable that it's not going to do the same thing again. And I think the way to avoid that is to really just don't put anything running directly across the back of the TV here, because there's more stuff it could interfere with. Is there a possibility that something down there could interfere with it? Unlikely. I don't see anything down there that would just snag on it and pull it. Most of the time this stuff's just going to kind of knock itself out of the way. Plus when I bundle everything together, it's going to make it large enough that it really can't get caught in the track system or any of that. And this uses kind of a screwdriver type mechanism right there to raise and lower it, so that's not even something it can really get caught in. So I'm pretty confident that doing what I'm doing here is ultimately the way this should have been ran. Now, hang tight to the very end where I give you my reaction to all this and if I think this is something that is acceptable. So hang tight. You'll probably want to hear my overall reaction when we're done with the fix. Okay, so I have all of the ends at the same length here. I have everything zip tied back there, zip tied right here, and this will give me the length to easily make it up to the TV without binding on anything. So all I really need to do now is feed that up through the back here and connect it to the TV. I could have probably started from the other side and worked my way this way with the wires. The problem is I wanted to have enough slack once I got to all these, and if I had ran the wire from here first, I wouldn't have been able to fish the wire through there, if that all makes sense. So I just need to get this wire up there, make the connections, and we should be finishing up this project. So to fish that wire up there, my arm's not long enough, and it turns into one of those back and forth thing where you get the wire up and then you go to reach for it and it falls back down. Where am I gonna find enough wire that I could use to fish that connection up? Perfect. And look, the end's even prepped. There we go. Got that running down that way, tied off. And I'm just going to pull the wire through here. Right there. My connections are right there, so plenty of slack. Okay, so I have one final issue, and that's the fact that my right side audio connection, the center peg got stuck in the hole, so I can't actually put this one in. But you know what? I don't think I need to use that. I'm not worried about it. They actually offered to package up a new TV and send it to me, which means I would have had an extra TV, because I'm pretty sure they wouldn't want the expense of shipping this one back to them. But I just told them, don't worry about it. I really don't want to go through the trouble of mounting a new TV up. And quite frankly, I don't think I really need the other audio connection connected. I know I could, again, I could probably somehow fish the end of the plug out of there, I think. But yeah, I'm just gonna not leave that one connected. I still have my left side audio connection in place. Everything's wired up back here now. I got my coax cable back on, and then I have both my HDMI cables plugged in. We're gonna lower the TV, raise it up, and test this bad boy out now. Okay, so the last problem I dealt with here was the auxiliary HDMI cable going to that right side cabinet. I bundled up the slack, so whenever the TV went up, it unplugged it. So I just had to replug that in, lowering the TV down. One thing to keep an eye on is if it looks like the TV is going down straight or at an angle. And so far, everything looks good. Don't have any wires blocking or potentially binding there. That wire right there was already right there, so it's not making any contact at all. Everything's looking really good. Let's go ahead and put the TV back up. Don't see anything binding. TV's going up straight. I think we're in good shape. Let's take a look at the connections behind the TV. Everything's still plugged in. Nothing has a ton of pressure on it. The cables still have some wiggle room. I think we're in good shape. Time to test out the TV. Okay, turning on the TV. Now we have the ultimate test DVD in there. All inputs. Okay, so it found the Furrion head unit. You can see the Furrion logo on the screen. There's a DVD in there saying load, which means the HDMI is actually putting a signal to the TV. There we go. Everything's working perfectly. Yep, I already hear it. Let's turn the volume up. There we go. Everything is working perfectly. Yep, that was a bit of a pain. Alright, so everything's put back together here. I got one more project I'm going to tackle real quick, and then we'll wrap this up. Okay, so we're here at the kitchen cabinet, the one that hits the fridge right here, and I've kind of made a discovery when I step on a chair so I can see what's going on. So the front of the fridge has this wooden cabinetry on it. And the reason why it's making contact is because if it didn't have this, see this spacer right here? Well, this spacer is the reason why the cabinet is sticking off so far from the wall. And that is why the cabinet is contacting it. Originally, we had spec'd this unit out not to have the wooden fronts to the refrigerator door, but they were added, and I think that's the problem, is these weren't adjusted to compensate for the 2 inches of space here that they stick out now because of the front here that's on the front of the refrigerator. So I am going to remove and adjust these. So if you don't get it with these panels up front, then these will open significantly further. I mean, you can probably almost open them all the way. I'd probably say you'd be able to open them to right about there. Still not completely open, but pretty much completely open if you don't get your refrigerator with these beautiful decorative panels. And to confirm, this is an LG refrigerator. So I'm gonna adjust these stops out a little further just so the cabinets don't open enough to make contact with this door. You know, I'm done doing this part. It took me all of 2 minutes and 3 seconds or so. And I wish all projects were this easy. I mean, I just moved them out. No more contact there. No more contact there. And no more contact there. That was it. And they opened pretty far, to be honest. You got at least 8 inches of opening here to be able to fit things inside. So if you want this panel on here, you're not losing too much, you know, in opening space in terms of opening up your cabinet. You are losing some, but not too much. I mean, if you were gonna put a giant bowl in there, you probably wouldn't be able to, but I could argue that this opening right here is maybe only, you know, a couple inches wider than this opening right here. But there's still plenty of room to get the things you need inside of there. And once you adjust those cable stops, you don't have to worry about it anymore. So again, this refrigerator only actually sticks off the wall right about to here. It's the fact that they have these decorative panels up front that make this trim come out even further. And it's pretty decent amount. Now, the other thing to keep in mind here is this part right here that is sharp, and if you rub your finger against it like that, you're going to cut yourself. I can't really do anything about that. I could probably put a small piece of weather stripping across there, maybe some Gorilla Tape or something, just to limit that from happening. But that is something I definitely recommend they address. Put, you know, some type of trim across this to prevent somebody from accidentally cutting themselves, because that's an ugly cut if you accidentally get one. You know, just grabbing this for whatever reason, if you have to lean against it, if you trip and you slide on it, the last thing you want is to have a nasty cut from the edge of this. Everything else though is really easy to fix. Okay, so here's my wrap up. So people are going to be saying, you know, this fifth wheel is over $100,000. Yes, granted. This one I think has an MSRP of $144,000. You know, sales price on something like this is probably going to be quite a bit less, so don't expect to go to a dealership and pay that much. I don't know how much this actually goes for at a dealership. I haven't asked, and I can't find any in stock because they pretty much build on demand. They build the number of units that are already sold, so by the time a dealership gets these, they're usually sold. That being said, when you're paying this much at this level for a fifth wheel, is it acceptable to have problems like this? No, absolutely not. You're paying a lot of money and you just expect things to work, right? You don't expect to have to go behind your TV, fish cables out, put new cables in, make all those connections. The main question to ask yourself though, when buying an RV, is this inevitable, right? Are you gonna have these problems? And the answer is always. Whether it's that specific problem, whether it's some other problem, whether it is you having to replace something or a microwave going out, you know, something that is completely outside of the control of perhaps the RV manufacturer and might be more of a component that they purchase. The fact is, no matter what RV you get, I don't care what brand it is, I don't care what budget you're paying for, expect that things will need to be fixed. Expect that things like this, or even more serious things, can potentially happen. You might have a slide problem. You might have, you know, a component with your suspension. You might have an appliance that goes out. It happens. It's part of RVing. It's not the fun part of RVing, but it is absolutely part of RVing. And if you don't prepare yourself for that mentally, then you're in for a hard time. And what I have to tell you is you need to familiarize yourself with basic hand tools. You need to familiarize yourself with the things that you need to carry with you to make problems like this less of a problem, right? Not having to take it to a dealership, spending an hour out here to fix that, to fix the cabinets up front. And you know, little things like that is worth it to me because I know how to do it. It's not a big deal. If you can't do it yourself, then you're likely gonna have additional headaches with any RV you buy. It's not just going to be expensive ones. People will automatically say, just because this is an expensive RV, you shouldn't have those problems. And that is absolutely true. You shouldn't. But it's inevitable with any price range. I don't care if it's a $500,000 unit. I don't care if it's a $6 million unit or if it's a $20,000 unit. You are bound to have some type of a problem with your unit at some point. Having basic hand tools, having a power drill. Watch some of my previous videos where I kind of explain some of the things you should probably carry with you if you're going to get into RVing. Having things that you can use to fix problems as they occur is vital if you want to have a stress-free RVing experience. If you just want to take it to the dealership and expect that level of service every single time you have a problem, again, you're going to be in for kind of a nasty surprise because dealerships may not be able to take your RV in when you want it, or they may not be able to work on it in the time frame you're looking for it to be worked on, and therefore you may have to adjust trips or cancel things to get things fixed that you may be able to do yourself if you familiarize yourself with the product, or if you look for alternative ways to get it fixed. For instance, if I don't have to cancel a trip to an RV park and I can simply call a technician to come out and pay him $100 to fix a problem, I might do that even if I'm paying for that out of pocket and not using the warranty on the RV, because the $100 I spend on him is worth the convenience of not having to leave it at a dealership and it be there for possibly weeks at a time getting fixed. I hope all of that makes sense. I'm definitely not giving anything a pass in terms of what I see. I just know that I can fix it myself. And I think most people that get into RVing realize that really quickly. If you can do it yourself, if it's not that big of a deal, just do it yourself and you'll save yourself a ton of headaches. Just be sure you contact the manufacturer because they will do things like send you replacement cables, send you the things that you need to make the repair easier, less stressful. And they definitely did that for me. And they've told me they'll do that for anybody that buys from them. So, you know, that's a really good level of customer service. That's them doing what they can to help you. And they were even willing to send a technician out to fix the problem for me. So there's still some inconvenience there, but they mitigate it, and that's what I look for. Anyways, guys, I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope you saw what I had to go through to change the cables out. It definitely wasn't brain surgery. It wasn't difficult, but at the same time, it was a little time consuming. The cabinets, man, that was a dream repair. That's the type of repair I want to do all the time, where you knock it out, you have nothing that gets in your way. It's an easy fix and you're done with it. Anyways, guys, if you haven't had a chance, please take a moment, subscribe to my channel so you can see the videos of us taking this thing out and really putting it to use, showing you what it's like on the road, showing you what it's like in a camping scenario. Again, please subscribe to my channel, give me a thumbs up, and we'll be back with you very soon.